Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final series of the Gears Pro League, week number 5. It's going to be a great one. Rebel is going to be facing off against Hive. It's not week 5, it's day 5. But I'm still Taylor Reflections Noble, and that's still Guy Blaze. And this last series is going to be a good one, man. Last one was really fun to watch, regardless of the second map. That first map really was very telling as to what both teams can bring to the table. But now we're heading into an interesting one, Blaze. We have the number 1 team in the standings, currently undefeated. That's Hive, going against the number 9 in standings of Rebel, who has a lot of potential, right? A lot of favoritism going towards them. However, they have been struggling without a doubt, hence why they're ranked number 9 in the standings. It's going to be an interesting one. What do you think about it overall?
Yeah, it is an interesting one, Taylor. When it comes down to Rebel, you know, the way they kicked off the Pro League, the emergence days leading up to it, the 3-game series they had against A United, it looked like Demon and Identivez was going to be the tips of the spear for this team.
Yep.
Really pushed them for the way that they were playing out at the front of the fight. Now, Rebel, they fell short since that moment. Like you said, they dropped down to the bottom of the standings. But the squad that was starting off hot that did it was Hive, right?
Yeah.
And this Hive roster is looking really good. And they look damn good there, even in the control tournament that we had on Emergence Day as well.
That's right.
This Hive roster is not one that you want to mess around with, and they have proved that throughout the first 2 weeks of the Pro League. But here in week 3, day 5, can they stay consistent? That's the big question.
That is absolutely the big question. Look, Hive has had not the easiest road to be where they are. They've had some tough competition, but you also got to look at the fact that they came out of the Pro League qualifiers, all right? They weren't guaranteed a pro spot. They had to earn it, and now they have earned that first place position, so good job to them. And one of the players that has consistently helped them get to this point is Noey. He's going to be our player to watch, our highlight for this match. Now, 1.64 KDA, but that plus or minus, I'm not going to lie, it's looking a bit rough. -30, not the highest that you would want. Percentage of team kills, 22.72. He's definitely not carrying his weight when it comes there. Engagement success, 42.65%. But overall, though, Noey is still that player that can be a playmaker and change the pace of a map. What do you have to say about this man?
Well, firstly, I am happy about how we changed up the stats. So whoever made that decision, kudos to you, because I love how these are set up. And a big reason why is that you see the -30 there on a plus and minus for Noey. It doesn't look good. And I first saw it, I was like, you sure those are his stats? Because, you know, the way my mind is working, Noey has been making big plays for the squad. But the engagement success, 42.65%. Yeah, he's -30 on a kill to death. But all those fights that he's a part of, that all those players that he's getting engagements on, 42% of them are falling. And I feel like that's where it balances out for him. He got talented players around him with TJ, Inzem, and Solurs. It's going to be hard for Noey to get kills versus on the last team, the last version of Hive that he was on, you can arguably say that he was the main slayer. He was the guy that was meant to perform last season for them to come out on top. And, you know, they didn't have a great performance, but luckily for him on this squad, he doesn't have to be the main slayer on his team. He just kind of has to do his part. And honestly, if I had to rank the squad, they're all great players, but I think Noey is actually the 4th best on this Hive team. And that's saying something.
But fair enough. I mean, look, again, Hive is number 1 for a reason. And like you said, I'm glad that you put it that way, man. Look, Noey, even though he may not be the star slayer out there, I mean, it's kind of hard to be when you're surrounded by such talented folks that are on Hive. So, but Noey's still holding his own without question. And that's why this roster continues to do well. Let's take a look at our map, see what we're rolling with today. We're going to have Vasgar, Asylum, and Foundation. Okay, so Hive goes with Vasgar. Fair pick. They're a great Vasgar team. Asylum for Rebel, it makes sense. I swear, every time you look at a pick and ban for Rebel, they're going to go with Asylum. It's just a map that they're very comfortable on. And for Foundation to be the tiebreaker, it's an interesting one because, you know, both teams are fairly decent on it, but, you know, who's the better one there? Would you say Hive? Would you say Rebel? What do you think, Blaze?
I think between the two maps, Rebel was the better district team than they are Foundation squad. So I threw it up to the 50-50 on Foundation. I feel like that was the thought process of that final pick when it comes down to the cycle. But moving on over towards the front portion, you know, a lot of them teams on Harbor, I wouldn't mess with them, okay? Because that map is set up for them. They love the winch fight. You know, they challenge it every single time.
Well, besides
get it out of here. Yeah, exactly. You don't want the long range rifles to come in for Demon and Identivez. You don't want to make it that easy for them. Get Harbor out of there. Vasgar, the Asylum map pick, I think Hive is going to be strong on Asylum. You know, it might be one of Rebel's better maps, but I think Hive is good in the first two. I think they look good here.
Well, fair enough. So you're thinking maybe 2-0 coming out for, or at least it's looking like it might be lopsided towards them. It is a possibility, but without question, you know,
I'm gonna hold my opinion. I'm gonna hold my opinion till we do the picks.
Well, let's do the picks then. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way, okay? You know, Rebel is a team that I definitely want to go for. I think I went with them last week. I can't remember if they let me down or not, but regardless of this week, I can't go with them simply for the fact it's hard to bet against a team that's been as consistent and is leading the charge as well as they are. I have to go with Hive. They've just been looking great. They're undefeated. They're #1. And how can you bet against #1 when they continue to stay #1 by providing great gameplay and consistency? Rebel, they don't really scream consistency. Great gameplay here and there, but for the most part, they usually always find a way to beat themselves. But you said you wanted to hold it. Now the time is here. Who you going with, Blaze?
Hey, man, I'm all in on that Hive train for those boys to go undefeated, all right? If you didn't figure it out, now you know. I think that this roster, we talked about them a little bit before the Pro League started. I said this entire team has something to prove. You got two players that got dropped from UYU and Rise Nation as the fifths of those squads. They had something to prove. Solurs, he's been on a mission ever since he got knocked off two of the top teams there. He has been wanting to come back into this. So, but Solurs is there. And then, of course, you got Noey, man. You know, I know he has a talented group around him. And I just think this Hive roster as a complete unit is a force to be reckoned with. They've proved it early on in the league, and now it's just up for them to stay consistent. And I'm going to be doubling down on them until they lose. So
it's doubling down. What does that mean? How many channel points did you end up putting on Hive?
Oh, I went all in.
How much is all in?
60K.
Oh, my gosh. Hey,
for 60K. And then when I get that 120 back the next time they play, I'm going all in.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, are you as bold as Blaze? Did any of you guys go all in? 60K is a large amount. Put it in perspective, I'm only at 81K. I can't bet anything, but that's a bold prediction. Chat, who are you going with? Are you going with Hive? Are you putting Rebel up there with your channel points? Going with Hive. Hive across the board. That's going to make it that's going to make it sting that much more when Rebel wins. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been losing tonight, Blaze, and Rebel has that chance. Eventually, they got to be on the come up.
Hey, at least I won't go down in the cast predictions, right? You know, hey, we're all wrong if we lose this one.
That is true. That is true.
You know, hey, it's a clear cut one, right? Rebel has something to prove here. We gave Rebel the benefit of the doubt in the first 2 weeks of the Pro League. They're sitting at the bottom of the standings. Now the pressure's on you. The doubt is there. It's up to you guys as a squad to prove us wrong.
Yes.
And now is the time against the undefeated team in the league. This is where you save face.
Absolutely. This is right. This is what can open up the discussion that, hey, Rebel, you know, because at this point in time, Blaze, it's all been theoretical, right? Oh, Rebel has the keys to success, the keys to the kingdom. They've got, Identivez and Demon, and man, they look so incredibly good, but then they always fall short. But if they can somehow beat Hive tonight, beat that undefeated team, now there's going to be a very real discussion that, man, Rebel is very talented in their own way, and maybe they do have a shot to beat anybody. Because if you could beat Hive, you could theoretically beat anybody out there. But let's not get too carried away. We still have a lot of maps to be played out and a lot of gears to watch. Rebel off the start, though, is going to be looking strong. Alpha Bravo's going to be locked in, and Demon is looking to take down Solurs in that 1v1. Solurs, though, will walk right up to him, take him down, but immediately into another 1v1 with Kardia. Kardia's going to throw out that stun, try and just get any distance that he possibly can, but I think it's only a matter of time. Great 2v1 there. TJ, Solurs working well together. Kardia, he's going to fall.
Yeah, Kardia tries to be a hero on that play. He could have threw the flash and possibly back road down the stairs, but he wanted to fight it, and he's going to be sitting back to the respawn, but it's not going to be a bad position as he needs to fill in the back line for his team because his other three members are pressed up towards the home hill currently of Hive, and they got him back towards the spawn, but they shouldn't be too aggressive in this spot because we know if you get too aggressive here with your opponent coming out their spawn, they got the spawn shield, it's open area, all the angles to beat you guys and take you out, as we just saw Hive do to Rebel there for getting too aggressive. Now Hive, they're currently about to play for the trip cap domination. Player 6 being TJ can hold this off for a little bit, but he will not be able to get in there and stop that heal from getting decapped, but he will buy time for his teammate to get into the fight.
Can't get that finish. I thought for sure he's going to get one of them. So B will be locked in. TJ did everything he could, but now it's up to the rest of the Hive members to try and keep them at bay. And it is going to be a mismatch, a 3v2 for the fight onto A. Player 7 will be joining into the mix, and he should spot player 2. So now the numbers should be absolutely out there, and Hive should be aware of this. Inzem, oh, hold up a second. Identivez comes out of nowhere through baby steps and gets the chunk on the 2. Inzem and Solurs, and Crack finishes up Noey. Well done from Identivez to a heads-up play and opens the door for Rebel to at least potentially take a point lead in the near future.
Yeah, no, that was a great plays coming out of Identivez and Crack there in that moment. Demon taking a lot of shots from his right. He's forced to push up, and he almost came away with that kill. That would have kept him locked into that fight to be able to cap up that B hill. But in the end, as you see, is Hive with full map control. They're gonna have the C hill fortified. This could come down to one final team fight. Let's see how Rebel wants to break this C hill.
Well, for Noey, he's looking at a wall of Rebel members and just trying to bait him out any way that he possibly can. He doesn't want to go into the blender, so he's going to use his cover as long as he possibly can. B is being played around with. Demon looks like he's going to fall for the time being. Noey is out. So now at this point, Rebel looking to go all in on C, but still, they need to get over to the other hill. Having it 2-1 isn't going to be enough. Hive only needs one hill to their name, and they understand this, so they're going to try and lock in B as long as they possibly can. For Identivez, he's going to push TJ back as far as he can, and he's going to fall at the 1 yard line, and that's going to be the first round going towards Hive. Well fought between both teams, but Hive always had that additional lead, that additional man in those engagements. Good for first round.
Yeah, man. A map like Vasgar, you know, to really get off to a good start off that initial and get that opening lead can do wonders for your squad, especially if you're better at rotating than your opponent. You know, kind of similar to how we saw Exhibit earlier. You know, the heals does not move on Exhibit, but if you can get off to a lead, the way that you can set up your defense down low in those lower lanes makes it so hard for your opponent to get that lead back. It takes a lot of time for squads to break those setups, and if it's not a lot of time on that clock, you got to make these crazy plays in the late game. Now, for a map like Vasgar, it's going to come down to, you know, just trying to out-rotate your opponent. And, you know, most importantly, for this map, I will say you got to keep your numbers, folks. You got to make sure you get in a head count of where your opponents are. Early down coming out here for Rebel. They're going to be able to match this fight up. 3v3. About to break out now, Taylor.
Ooh, this is going to be a bloodbath, man. It looks like Rebel has what it takes to kind of push back Hive. But then again, it's all about one kill. One kill can just change the pace, and that was it. Danny will take down TJ. Inzem will fall by Crack. And Crack is going to go ahead and push into Noey, who actually picks up one, goes in for the second, dancing around, but can't solidify it. Crack is going to go ahead and clean him up. So a great start for Rebel, holding in that Charlie fight. And already Hive has got their numbers back. They're off of the respawn, and they're immediately going to go for round 2 on the C fight. If Rebel can hold on to this fight once again, counter those numbers from Hive, they can net themselves close to a 100-point lead.
They definitely can. Now, I feel like Rebel's going to be on a on the side of the map with the disadvantage on it. Now, Kardia, that's a big fight for him because now he can press up, and he's going to force his player on the A hill to have to back up. But Kardia can't stay here for too long because Noey's coming off respawn. Solurs knows it. He's going to win an easy fight. And as soon as Noey comes off respawn, he's just going to let him know, hey, man, come to B Hill. Fight it with me. Let's see if we can get it. But as we see, Noey, he's going to defend A for now as he's waiting for his teammates to come off respawn.
And there's that 100-point lead basically coming into play. It's almost GG for Hive, right? They've got to pull off some great heroics. It starts with this fight. They can even win it. It looks like, man, Rebel is just firing on all cylinders. Well done. Great team fight. And that should net them the win. Big 1v1 up top for Kardia and Solurs. Kardia can waste as much time as he possibly wants. Solurs is the one who theoretically has to push into him, right? Because B is nice to have, but Rebel doesn't necessarily need it. So Solurs is kind of out of play at this point in time, but it's kind of GG. Rebel, they're just going to hold on. Well done from them, man. You know, Hive's going to give it one last go, but again, they can't get on C. It's too far gone. So we're tied up 1-1.
All tied up 1-1. And that was a hard-fought round from Rebel. But you saw that lead that they got into early on. They were able to get the B hill and the C hill. They racked up that time. And then from there, you know, the engagement on top of the Hive's home hill worked out for them. You know, that early lead got them towards the back end of that round. So good job to them. Identivez in that 5 kills, 7 assists at the top of the leaderboard for this squad. Now we're about to get our third weapon placement for the round. Is it going to be tossed here on top of the Botox? Yes, it will. Get upgraded to Retro Lance. We'll see how that plays a part into the next round.
Oh, you know it's going to hit hard. Whoever ends up
Very
taking
hard.
It's definitely going to be a nuisance to deal with. But, you know, it's just a natural progression of things, and both teams just want to kind of mirror each other. We'll have that 2v2 on B, maybe have a 2v2 on Charlie as well. So for this tank fight, you're going to have Demon, who's going to be down low, and he's going to be comfortable in this spot. So TJ, he likes this fight as well. Those close quarter fights is where he feels at home. But on the other side, Crack is playing very well. He picks up one. Inzem will collapse down on him, and that's going to be the fight one momentarily for the side of Hive. But now he's got to deal with Danny up top, and Danny's been playing lights out too. But Inzem's going to push him. Identivez throws out the utility, but it doesn't connect, and he is on the run. He's trying to get out of there as fast as he can, but he finally gets Lancer down and taken out. But will Hive be able to use this to their advantage? They still have a couple more players to work with. Kardia is going to drop. Crack is trying to get any revenge he can. Takes out Inzem, goes in on the second. If he can get this two-piece, that's huge, but he can't. Solurs will take that fight, and that's going to give the 2-1 over to Hive.
And he has another 1v1 to win. This is quickly about to be a 1v2, but as we can see, few players are gonna rotate down low towards the B hill. Hive, they made it down to the B hill first, but they were slow with the decap. Now you see Rebel, they got the numbers in this area, and Hive will not get an opportunity at decapping the B hill at all. Instead, Solurs, he's gonna regroup there with Inzem, and they're gonna press back towards the hill up top at A, and that could be the second hill in which they need to get a lead. Noey will not make it out in time. And at this point, Rebel can keep rotating the map. They got B. They're going to try to send a player over to C. I think player 4 could have possibly took a different route to get over to get that decapture on C hill. Even if he didn't capture it, I think having a presence there would have forced the rest of the members on Hive to kind of regroup at the C hill to make sure they had one locked in.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, he should have maybe gone over to C, but I guess now the numbers still will benefit that of Rebel as they continually push back Hive. Now the battle for C is going to be there, but now you're going to have a 2v1 who's going to be pressuring Demon back. So he's going to have to hold his own once player 9 and 6 decide to push up. If they do, right now it's only 6, so actually the odds have shifted back into Rebel's favor because they've rotated down, and now they will be able to assist Demon. Player 6 in a tough spot. TJ is literally between a rock and a hard place. He's going to drop off. Player 9 is now going to be isolated. He's going to have numbers against him, 1v2. He should get away for the time being. And as Hive, I mean, they're locking in the 2-1 maybe, but they're still behind. And this is the same thing from the last round, Blaze. They're playing catch up consistently. Rebel's doing a great job objectively, as you pointed out earlier.
Yeah, man, and that was a big reason why player 4 didn't flank that C hill. Rebel has had the lead for a while. They've done a great job rotating. They got the A hill locked in, but this is going to be Hive's final push. If they can get some kills consecutively, they'll be in a good spot, but player 4 tried to be sneaky. He gets caught off guard, so player 7 will get a decap at A. Player 2 retreating. It's going to come down to a final battle on top of C, but those Hive members in the spawn will not be able to make it there in time, and Rebel, they'll keep a hold of that C hill, the only hill that they need to keep that round.
This is a big map. If Rebel can take the map pick off of Hive, like that is one hell of a start. And again, Rebel has always had that talent and ability to be a top caliber team, but there's always been something that has stopped them, whether it be themselves whether it be Rebel beating themselves, whether it be, you know, just another team maybe capitalizing on one easy mistake. They always find a way to unfurl and unravel, if you will. But now, hey, they're in a great position. They're up 2-1. And a very real chance to be up 3-1, which would be phenomenal for Rebel at this point in time. And I gotta say, they are playing very well. Versus Hive at this point, slaying category-wise, objectively, Rebel seems to be a step ahead. But now as Hive transitions to a rival spawn, this is the place where they do feel comfortable. So maybe this is where they're gonna answer back, tie it up 2-2 to head into the second half.
Yeah, I think this is an important round here for Hive. Let's see if they can come out on top with it. As you see, it's gonna be a 3v3 fight. For the C hill on this side of the map. Not going to break out just yet, but the 1v1 is the most important one, as Kardia is going to be capping this hill up for 3. He's watching his left hand, which would be his opponent's right hand. Shots being put out. Noey won't make it back in time. Oh, he does make it back, but still, the Lancer was there. Identivez here to help his teammate out. Noey traded out that kill on Kardia. This is a 1v1 for him. Let's see if he can get the heal for the squad.
Oh, good shot onto Noey, at least right now to get that chip damage, but Noey's not going to go in that easily. Now with TJ joining into the mix, Identivez is in a tough spot. He's going to retreat, join Demon. And again, he didn't necessarily need to challenge Tank. They can just Lancer out, make the job hard for Hive to push in. At this point, you got that player up top, Demon, or excuse me, Kardia, who's going to be able to Lancer out. And then you have Danny as well as Demon, who's ready to pounce on those weak players, get the last bit of damage and get the chunk. But now you got a little bit of trouble. Demon is now gone. Now it's a 3v2, and the numbers benefit Hive. But they're taking their sweet time. They're down 60 points at this point, and now Hive really needs to get to work and lock down these two hills. They've got them now, but they need to hold on to them and battle against the numbers of Rebel.
All right, so Hive is sitting in some great positions to defend against Rebel from multiple angles. Now they're just trying to get a head count. They will identify two players that are trying to approach the A hill, so they're going to match their numbers, and they will identify the other two players at B. So man both sides of the map. Inzem with the Botox in hand, hitting a few shots on Crack, gonna force him back. Now on the flip end, Demon's gonna leave that fight right away. Now this is a timely situation here for Rebel because, you know, with him coming over, they need to make that play in a quick enough time before Hive can pick up on it, and they did just that. Picking up big kills, Rebel will be able to keep the C and B hill locked in. They're in a good spot.
Like you said, great spot. At this point, you know, if Rebel could take that 3-1 lead, it's going to be huge for them to be in that driver's seat and not slow down. And Hive, I think, is feeling the pressure. You know, Rebel has put them in a difficult spot. They're not winning fights as easily as before, and they're finally being challenged. And that was a great shot from TJ onto Demon. He'll get the break. Charlie's going to be in their hands, but too far away, I think, from the B hill. And yeah, Danny's going to go ahead and lock it in. So there you have it. It is going to be 3 in a row. We're going to see Rebel take that 3-1 lead. Hive, they're struggling. They have to find a way to claw back.
They definitely have to. They are going to be down and down, but they're not out, folks. Okay. Looking at these weapon placements, going to be standard. You got your retros map. You got your Botox. Retros are going to be the first nade being placed down, which is going to be a shot grenade. So that's going to be there. But, you know, hey, into that last round, man, Rebel, they won some big fights. They got off to an early lead. And I will say, man, on the side with the disadvantage in the first half, which is the swarm spawn at checkpoint, they won a lot of rounds over there. They won a lot of rounds on that side of the map. And I always feel like if the COG team comes into the second half with a good lead, you can almost count this map for them.
100%. Absolutely right. At this point, Hive, they've really got to dig deep, find a way to battle back. They're losing objectively. They're losing slaying-wise. And Rebel is just looking like a better, complete team at this point in time. We are going to have a 3v2. So once again, Rebel's going to have the added number and the added benefit to push in hard. But for Demon, he will fall. Now it's a 2v2. Danny, though, is going to hit a great shot. Crack will also finish up the other. And it looks like only one more player remains for Hive, who's now, actually, make that two. One does come up the baby steps, and Solurs is going to be there to get the downs. Identivez now is going to try and find a different angle. Now he's going to have to push into a 1v2, but he's committed. Inzem falls, now 1v1. Danny is weak, and great shots come out from Noey to be able to Lancer him down, take him out on his final life. So at this point, Rebel still has the 2-1 hill advantage, but Hive got a couple of critical kills, and that'll put them in the 2-1 at this point in time. But it's all about maintaining, because Rebel is already off the respawn in a 3v1 versus player 9.
Yeah, and with them getting that first kill, they know that they got a man advantage somewhere on the map, so they're going to 3-man wolf pack until they get the hills they need and put Hives back up against their spine. And it starts here at the E hill as Rebel locks it in. They get another kill on the map, and they're not going to slow down because they know Noey has a few extra seconds on that respawn. But pushing through your opponent's spawn is very dangerous, especially on Vasgar. They're just going to slow it down, win these fights at the lower portion of the map, keep the two hills that they have locked in. Danny has a big 1v1. He's going to clean up the kill on Solurs. Me shield, melee, help's coming.
Behind.
And help is going to come just in time.
Yeah, Kardia. I mean, what is TJ going to do there? He's, you know, he turns around. He's got Kardia, you know, in front of him, obviously. He's got another member. just a tough spot to be in. Rebel, once again, just like in the previous 3 rounds, they're looking unstoppable, and Hive is struggling to win these engagements, bottom line, period. We got a bit of a 2v2. Noey needs to push up these stairs. Hive is getting into a position now where it's like, okay, now they'll start to come back, but then it's going to be a little bit too late, right? And they're going to, Rebel is then going to cap out at 250. And what is Hive going to do at that point? There's not a lot they can do. Will the 2-1 though benefit them? Do they take the win condition? They don't. So once again, same position they've been in the previous 3 rounds. They've got to get a break on the home hill of Rebel.
And Rebel, if they're trying to get a break on Hive's home hill, and Danny, he did what was most important. Now it's just getting a decap. At this point, Hive has no chance at coming back into this round unless they win both these 1v1s. They have to win. Ooh. Oh, Danny got one. He got the one that his team needed.
Yeah, that's the huge one, right? Because now look at how much ground needs to be covered from Hive. Granted, that's their spawn, but to the point where they're respawning back up.
It's not over yet, Taylor. It's not over yet.
It's not, but it's pretty close to being so. But it does come down to this fight. It looks like Danny has actually left Delta, and they're going to be fighting now for this hill. They do get the break, but now Hive needs to be in a lot of different places all at the same time, and it starts on F.
Player 7's flanking. So the home hill was not capped up either, so Noey just got the decap at D, rotated down low right away to get into this hill. But even though Hive made some great plays, Rebel was just too resilient in that round. Once again, another great start for him, and once they get that lead, man, they just locked this. They locked the whole round in and just keep out-rotating Hive, winning big fights, and they keep finding a good win condition. And
man, it's tough plays. They're doing everything right.
Yeah, it is. And what I mean by a good win condition is, getting to the point in which Rebel has such a lead where all they have to do is win off of 1, right? And when they recognize that they got to win off of 1, it's a lot easier to fortify these hills. And you have to make some perfect plays if you're on the other side where you have to come back. And Rebel's been doing a good job at controlling those late game situations when they do have that lead.
All right, well, here it comes. This is round number 6, and Rebel is about to pull off a big upset. Given the fact that Hive did pick this map, this is the one they wanted to start off the series with. And I just want to point out, by the way, Hive, once again, is undefeated, currently ranked 1 in the standings. First place, Rebel is all the way down there, ranked in 9th place. So this would absolutely be a big upset. If that wasn't apparent in the predictions, it's apparent in the standings in general. So Rebel, hey, again, if they get this victory over Hive, what does that say about this roster, and what does that say that they can accomplish? Big tank fight. Danny is blocked off by the shock, but he manages to get away. Hive now is going to use this opportunity to lock in E if they possibly can, but Identivez, he's not going to let it go that easily. He pushes in. He's going to get a kill onto Solurs. Second one is going to be TJ. Team pickup is going to be there. Danny, though, is going to be traded off, and it looks like TJ is going to have the final lap. Inzem's going to be picked up. Cracks on the other side of tank. He is the last one standing for Rebel, the last savior. He looks like he's going to get the drop on 1 or just a hair away for doing so, but Noey gets the final shot, and it will be Hive locking in that hill, and more importantly, applying pressure on the D.
Yeah, they are applying pressure, but they're going to have to relieve some of that pressure and back up and hold the hills in which they got. They lost the man on that push, but luckily for them, they did win the big fight at F. And currently, Hive has the setup in which they want. They got an E hill locked in. That's going to be 1v1. F is down low, so since player 8 is pressed so far up, they can kind of thin out their numbers a little bit more. But the call out comes through. The focus is there for Hive. They had the down, but they don't get a kill. And Inzem does a good job being patient, holding that shot. But that hop up is questionable. His team is here. They were in a good spot, but he goes down. Now, luckily for him, his squad, they got the lead. And they're in a good spot, but they need him to come off respawn ASAP.
Ooh, nice shot from Noey.
What do they?
Around the corner. Well, I mean, at this point, Hive still has that control. And not to mention, they've got a 2v1 on both ends of the map. One for D and the other one on E. Can Crack hold his own? Well, he does drop down. That's going to leave enough time for Demon to get up here and force a 1v1 over on TJ. Throws out that shock. A bit of a panic throw. I think it could have been utilized a lot more efficiently, and now he puts himself into the blender. He's gone. But still a lot of work for Rebel, but they're going to be on all 3 hills. So the possibility is there, but player 2 has to hold his own at this moment because you got 3 members from Hive pressing into him. Hive knows they win off of 1, and E is where the final fight's coming down to.
It is, and Inzem gets first blood on that fight. He has some help from his teammates. He trades off there, but that's not the worst case scenario. That's not the worst thing that can happen to him in that moment. Another 1v1 down low is TJ versus Kardia, and TJ wins that battle as well. This will be a Hive round, and they're going to survive in this map for now. Great response from the previous few rounds, but Rebel got plenty of time to close this map out.
Absolutely. Plenty of time, but time is over with. Hive will go ahead and take it 4-2, still down. A lot of catching up to do, but we've already seen it once before. Let's not forget PK versus Elevate, right? That one map, man, where had that 4-0 lead only for them to come back. So the potential is absolutely there for it to happen. But I got to say, Rebel's just been playing very well. But again, Rebel puts themselves in these positions, Blaze. Let's not kid ourselves. Rebel has been just on the cusp of winning a very important map, only to lose it by allowing the other team to gain momentum, gain speed, and didn't make a comeback in the end. So possibilities there. That's a blanket statement. You can take that for what it is. But the reality is Rebel has put themselves in a great spot, but they just got to close it out.
Momentum, speed, violence.
Okay.
Rebel has all of that right now currently.
Yes,
okay,
they do.
I think that's all in their favor. But they need to be careful not to give this away to Hive. Slow this map down best as they can. The pressure is on their opponent. So because Rebel has this lead, they can wait for Hive to make some mistakes. You know, Hive has to play perfect at this point on. So Rebel, they just need to build a gap scene in these lanes, take favorable fights, use their numbers advantage, and they should have no issues closing out this map.
Yeah, no issues at all. Well, let's find out. Tank fight is there. Demon wants to press forward, but he's got the flames. Who knew a demon would be scared of flames? But I guess in this moment, he's respecting it. Trying to time out the shock. I saw what was going on both ends there, all right? Demon was trying to time that flash with the flames so he can then push in and have the added edge. Hive saw this coming. They end up throwing the shock themselves, countering him. Very well done. That was some high-level gameplay we just witnessed, as we do have that 1v1 on E between 3 and 9. So you're going to have Noey going against Crack. Crack's been playing lights out. So it's going to be a tough 1v1 for Noey, but for at least a hill of Delta, it's going to be decapped. E is also going to be capped as well. This 1v1 is big and both players are down. So player 1's going to be able to skirt across, get the pickup on player 3, secure E. Will it be the 2-1? You still have another 1v2 taking place. Danny falls and Hive retakes control.
Very well said, Taylor, especially when it came down to that tug-of-war battle down at the tank fight with the nades. Now, after the dust have settled here, you see Hive. They got the D hill back. F hill's in their favor as well. And they're sitting in a good spot, but with the smokes out and Rebel being pressed up, it's going to be hard to win this fight at the F hill. You just want to make sure that your opponent can't cap it. For Hive, they get the angles in. Demon pushes through, picks up a kill on Inzem. He's cleaned up though. Now currently a 3v2 on the map in favor of Hive. Danny's has something to say about it. He takes out 1 and he's gonna take out 2. Evens the odds and he puts the favors back in Rebel's advantage.
Yes, he definitely does. Another 1v1 though. Noey versus Crack. Noey wins this time. They've been going back and forth, those two players, man. It's become personal at this point in those 1v1s. So Rebel has a minor lead, 20 or so points. And at this point, Hive are going to try and fight their way back. It's still anybody's game. So these next couple of hills are going to be absolutely important for either roster to take it over. Can't overstate, though, the fact that Hive is down 4-2. So Rebel, they're winning. They've got the 2-1 hill advantage, and they put themselves in a winning position. But again, they have to hold on to it. Is it going to be possible? Well, we'll find out after Hive looks to make a pretty big push onto F.
Yeah, pretty big push indeed, and that's going to be 1 down. They have damage on Danny in the back. He may get revive, actually gets cleaned up at the last minute. So Hive is going to put 2 hills in their favor. And, you know, on the flip end, you know, Noey wins a big 1v1 on top of the D hill across map. So he can press forward towards E. And the pressure currently is on Rebel. They got to get one of these hills. They're going to have to win a 3v3 fight to do so.
Ooh, great Ensign thrown out. Connects on to Crack. Danny falls as well. Demon, though, will clean up Inzem. Score still favoring that of Rebel at this point. The 1v1 on E was won by player 4. He clutches up. Now, even though Rebel may not have the numbers, Hive, though, hey, they're going to eat that up, and they should be able to take this win. But a lot of hills being played around with. E is finally going to be locked in place for Hive, though. Is it going to be enough time? Player 1's going to be going across. He's going to try and get this break. He needs to get this kill on player 6. But at the end, it doesn't even matter because D was locked in for Hive. And that is going to be another round back-to-back, 2 in a row, 6 and 7, going to Hive. 1 round away from tying it up and sending it to round 9.
All right. So let's see if Hive can pull it out, but I still think Rebel is in a good spot. They have to win it on this round. If they send this to the final round, it's going to be a close battle. It's going to be a little bit harder. So the best chance that they got now is to close it out on checkpoint spawn. Now, as far as power weapons go, Rebel got 2 nades on their side. They can choose to put something center map if they want to. And honestly, I'll put something tank side. I wouldn't even block out my opponent's nade. Put something tank side for that fight. Use the block the second time around, but instead they will go for the block here. And I think that's the less riskier play, because if you don't win a fight, your opponent's going to be at the checkpoint spawn in the final round. They'll have a better shot at fighting for whatever power weapon you do put at tank. So instead, you just get mirror blocks.
Mirror blocks indeed. Makes round 9 clean unless something gets placed on tank. Possibility is there. Hive has put themselves in a momentous position, right? They're coming back. They are looking strong. Kardia opens it up, takes down a player from Hive, and that's going to be at least 1 hill to their name. Still a lot of battles being underway. Inzem trying to clutch up. He's going to take and he takes down Demon, gives him a little bit of extra love, and that's going to open up F. And actually, player 7's going to stick there. He's going to go and assist now off of Rebel's home hill. Hive is looking to lock into domination right here, right now.
Here they are, and they get the first down. Revives come through. But Hive currently in a 2v3. Rebel came off respawn that quickly to contest, and beautiful plays from Kardia. They clean up the remaining Hive members, and Rebel's going to stay alive in this round. It looked like Hive was going to end it there, but they just didn't get none of those kills off the read.
None. And now Rebel, despite being down, should have free reign to get the 2-1. No reason why they lose this F fight, but it is a possibility. We'll see what Hive has in their bag of tricks. They do have utilities across the board, so they're going to be able to throw that out and maybe get the break. They're going to allow Rebel to stick it, take over D and F. And that utility was thrown, so now I think they're going to go ahead and answer back with their own. The only one who has utility on the Rebel side is going to be Identivez and Kardia. Here we go. Some big fights about to be underway. Solurs is going to drop off. Danny now is going to spot yet another one. He doesn't want Solurs to get picked up, but it happens. And from the pickup, Solurs picks off Identivez. Kardia now 1v2. Able to drop one, but the same result. You have Solurs and Noey there. Great teamwork, good team pickups. And now all 3 hills are going to be danced around as Hive looks to lock this in play. The finish on that bottom hill is there. Can you get a touch? Identivez so close, and he will. And Rebel will stay alive a little bit longer, but I do mean a little bit. We're heading into round 9. That's 3 in a row.
Oh, man. Another round 9 on Vasgar for the day. Back-to-back series. And this can go either way. TJ sitting at the top of his team. Kardia sitting at the top for Rebel. Both those players going to be looking to make big plays for their squads as they go into this final round. Now, either we're going to get these grenades halved on a respawn timer, or we're going to get some center line weapons. So you see the frag grenades up top. Now, what does Rebel want to put down? Do they want to force the fight elsewhere? I think that was beautiful placement there for Hive. Do not put it at tank, but Rebel says, you know what? We want to put something down that's going to work out for us and on our side of the map. So they put the sniper down at tank, and I love the plays here from both these squads. And this is going to be a crazy final round. Rebel, 4-man rush down low.
Yes, they want that long shot. You can already see where they're going. And you already know who's going to get the long shot if they do get their hands on it. It's going to be Demon. He's so great with the long shot. He connects, and he knows how to make it happen. But with the overextension, with the man advantage, they will, in fact, lock in D for the time being. Now, player 9 is kind of by himself in no man's land. And I'm kind of curious, based on his positioning, what he's going to be up to. But I mentioned Demon with that long shot again. He is going to be able to connect. He's going to be a nuisance for this Hive roster. But see, this is the thing. Rebel put themselves in a great position off that start, but Hive, once again, has a 2-1 hill advantage. So Rebel has to find a way to fight back.
Man, good snipes by Demon, making sure that Noey did not get away. He has some grenades in his back pocket to work with, so he did a good job picking up that kill. And Noey tagged a few nades actually at the E hill as he tagged those nades and picked up his opponent's incendiary grenades. But that incendiary grenade went back into the hands of Kardia. It's going to be in his back pocket, and he's going to be there right along with Demon, locking in his E hill. And the E hill is going to be, this is actually 2v2 on the map So Hive, they're gonna push the F hill instead, but their members up top gotta defend against these plays, and Demon connects with a big shot.
Did you see how clean that was? It connects on really Inzem and then instantly switches over to the Nasher to slide in and take down Solurs. Like, that was just flawless muscle memory to the core. Well done from Demon, and Noey's going to be caught out. He's flanked. TJ, you better keep your head on a swivel. Demon's coming at you, and he is going to win that fight as well. I cannot stress enough how well Demon just played that moment, whether it was on the other hill, hitting the snipe, getting the Nasher kill, and then coming onto the flank of Demon and another. He was the playmaker that put Rebel back in the driver's seat. I say driver's seat. They do have the win condition, but if Hive can get a decap, it's going to switch right back over to them.
I think Demon should be getting more sniper ammo soon. Solurs is going to have to get that flash grenade off respawn and make sure he can stop that. Most importantly, just catch Demon off guard. See if he can trap him away from his teammates and try to isolate this guy. He got one more shot left in his sniper. Hive knows exactly what they need to do, but now they got to execute. And Demon's holding his position very well. Doesn't want to run away for free, want to put out as much damage as he possibly can, and his teammates will get it down on Inzem. So Demon does not have to even leave the spot. He's going to press forward with some help from Danny.
Who's next?
Ooh, Demon hits another great shot on the TJ. Domination is coming into effect. Player 9 is going to be on the other side. He's going to lock it in place, but Hive now, it's do or die. They have to win these fights. For player 8, he wants to push in, but he can't afford to yet. He doesn't have the teammates to be able to do it effectively. Now coming up to spawn, this fight is everything. Identivez trying to connect on the shots. Rebel's so close to victory, and it looks like, oh no, the Kobe hits onto Solurs. Crack cleans up Inzem and wrap it up. It is over with. It got big scary, I should say, not a bit scary, but big scary for Rebel, but they hold on and they finally lock in the final round. Took a while to get to this point, but well done, and they will win Hive's map pick on Vasgar.
Oh man, well fought there for Rebel. They lock in that 5th round. It was looking scary for them, like they was not going to be able to close it out, but they found a winning strategy at the end. They placed the sniper down low a tank, and being at the spawn, at the lower spawn, they decided to send 4 players right across and say, hey, you know what? We're going to muscle our way through this, get the kills, get the power weapon, and get the heals, and that's exactly what they did. You saw big plays from Demon as he rotated around the map.
Yes.
And but you know, even after all of that, right? Like Hive had the lead past the 200 mark, Taylor.
Yes, it did.
But you know, Rebel, they were resilient. They stayed locked in on top of Hive's home hill, and that was that. Even though Hive got most of the nades on the map, they didn't put them to good use, and Rebel locked it out of the nail biter.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stress enough how well Demon just played that moment. The fact that he was able to get that long shot, put it to use, kill 2 players, then get on the flank, snub out TJ, or excuse me, he snubbed out one of the players and then was able to take down TJ right after that. Like, that just kind of solidified it. Again, as you mentioned, Hive was up. They passed the 200 mark at that point in time. But if Demon doesn't do that, who knows how the fights end up going. He was that wild card, and he ended up pulling through big. Kind of like Dyslexic did earlier, right, in the earlier series. So I got to say, man, well done from Demon popping up. And you know, Ink is always like, look, I know you guys want to talk about Identivez all the time, but what about my boy Demon, right? Talk about him. And again, I never forget him. I've been watching him for forever now, and he continues to impress me week in and week out. So well done from Rebel. But it does show, look, they got some loose ends to tie up, and closing out maps is something they do struggle with, at least here on Vasgar. They've done it in other series, but the fact that they do get a map off of Hive, that's impressive.
No, it is impressive indeed. And, you know, looking back on it, I'm not sure if Hive has lost any maps beforehand, and they have. Yeah. They lost 2 maps so far. So this would be the 3rd map in which they've lost. But let's see if they can go the distance, man, if they can protect their record. If not, man, Rebel, they're making a statement, and we talked about it beforehand. We had high hopes for Rebel coming into the league. After the first 2 weeks, you know, we figured they kind of, you know, fell flat. They settled at the bottom. Still plenty of weeks of Pro League to play. But this series right here, I think, is the most important of Rebel so far, to let everyone know that, hey, we are here to compete. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the power rankings, but you can never count us out.
And again, that's the biggest thing, right? Because if they can beat the best team currently, they can beat literally anybody. And I think that goes across the board for any team, like even Oxygen, again, taking big maps off of dominant teams. You never know who's going to be able to win at any given day, any given series. But it's a solid start for Rebel. Still a lot of work to be done, but they can at least rest easy to the fact that they are heading into their map pick on Asylum. But let's bring it back down to reality. I know Rebel is a great Asylum team, but Hive is also known to be a dominant Asylum team, right? So this is going to be another battle that's going to be very difficult for them to win, and I expect it to be just as close as that Vasgar map.
Yeah, both teams are very good at this map, so as we move on over towards Asylum in the first half of the game, we're going to be putting close attention there towards the mid lane and the top lane, as it's kind of played out to be more of a stalemate at tracks to kick off the round. And a lot of teams have been letting the 1v1 lanes kind of move around, seeing if they can win their fights, find an advantage for the squad, and create a more favorable engagement off the initial, so it's not so much of a 50-50 going mid-map. Now, as you enter the second half, we know how that battle at top entrance can be. It's going to come down to those front spawns, who can get inside that entrance door first, control that portion of the hill, great nade usage, seeing how long that you can actually even hold those nades on the engagement. You know, after your opponent tossed theirs, you toss yours last, so you can kind of get into that hill first as your nade is going to be dissipating. Now, we'll see who can play this map the best, but it's going to be a close one. Hive, they got a lot of experience here, as well as Rebel. I do think we'll see some centerline power weapons earlier, because we know what happens when I feel like Rebel is the best version of themselves when it is power weapons along the center line of the map.
Sure.
So I think they'll put one down eventually.
You know, if they do put something down, probably a long shot. Again, they want Demon to have that long shot in his possession. He just lights out with it. He plays very well. And the thing about him, he's special, right? He doesn't just hang back and wait for kills to come his way. He pushes up, right? He pushes up with the long shot, and he's comfortable with switching back and forth, whether he's using a snipe or he's using his Nasher. That was made apparent early when he hit that beautiful two-piece versus Inzem and then another. So well done from him. And you know what? I agree with you. I think it's going down Pavilion.
And when you put the sniper on the map, hey man, take it from me, okay? Like, you know, I was average as a Gears of War player, but if a snipe was on the map, I got 25% better, because I wasn't gonna let nobody else get it, and I wasn't gonna lose it, right? You know, I feel like the same thing applies for Demon, but you know, he's a great player now, but when he gets the scope, he becomes unstoppable, and he's gonna fight hard for that weapon once it goes down. So you gotta make sure that you defend against it, because you saw how he took control of that last round there when he got control of the scope. Also, it's a big reason why Hive banned out Harbor, okay? They didn't want to have to deal with him on Stern fighting for those long-range weapons. Probably the same reasoning came into play when it came down to District as well, when you think about the picks and bans of it all. So Demon, he's going to do whatever he can to get that long shot. I think Hive just needs to play some good Gears of War, okay? Play great off their initials, build up their secondaries, and they can get off to an early enough lead. Rebel will start to create advantages for Hive, as they are going to probably be forced to put down a center weapon if they do get if they do start this map off you know, just at the bottom. And we'll see what happens.
Well, definitely will. I mean, for me, I'm looking at TJ. I'm looking at Demon. I think those are going to be the two big playmakers, whether it be on tracks or streets. It's just going to be a huge battle between those two guys. They're dominant slayers in their own right. I expect them to really carry their weight for their roster. But, you know, Identivez also pulled up big. It was kind of refreshing to see how well he was playing. He always performs well, you know, but there are some weeks where he has been lacking. But at least in this matchup versus Hive, he was being that dominant IGL, more importantly, being that dominant clutch player, much like we expect from IGLs, like Franchise, for example, who played so very well in the series earlier that we were able to watch. So I expect a lot from Danny coming into this Asylum matchup to be able to lead his troops accordingly. But for me, like I said, TJ, Demon, they're going to be across from each other, and that's going to be a big battle, but one that can determine the outcome of this map overall. And Chad, I leave it to you to let us know who you think is going to win map number 2. I know there's a lot of channel points. I asked that question when you said, look, you put 60K down on Hive to take this.
You
might be going broke, my friend. You might be going broke. But there's a lot of people in chat was like, oh, I put 59K down. I put 60K down. I think someone like some crazy guy said like 90K or 100K down or something like that. There's a lot of moolah being moved around out there, okay, channel point wise. So we'll see. And I believe Force ended up voting 61K on his own team. So, yeah, hey, look, and you might as well. If you're not going to bet for yourself, who really can you bet for?
Exactly, right? And, you know, for Hive, at least they didn't get blown out in map number one.
That's
All right,
true.
for the Hive fans out there, it was close. They started to come back in the end, but they started off slow in the series. Now they're going to 2 maps in which they're comfortable on: Asylum, Foundation. All right, Hive, they have an opportunity to come back in here, but I think it's just as true that Rebel has a damn good opportunity to close this series out too. Oh, they can be done with it. Done and gone. All right, so Rebel needs to do their best to keep this momentum in their favor. We'll see how these fights break down in a 1v1 lanes for Asylum. Hive has a lot of work to do against Rebel.
A lot of work indeed. Again, this isn't even their map pick, albeit Hive, once again, respect to them when it comes to Asylum. They're a great Asylum team, but it's not your map pick, and I think that's something that, you know, always you have to keep in mind. With that being said, but it looks like we're about to get underway, guys. This could determine the series. Rebel might strike and huge or provide a massive upset. The possibility is there. But again, I'm looking at TJ. I'm looking at Demon to be the playmakers for each individual roster. And for Demon, looks like he's going to lose his life a little early on, but TJ better watch out. You got Danny on the flank. He's forced to get out of there, and that's a missed opportunity. I felt he needed to get that finish. Solurs might be the savior in this moment, but little plays like that, you cannot let him slip.
Yeah, you can't let him slip at all. Now Hive will be able to acquire that first kill, and you see Inzem is not slowing down. Crack is going to force him to have to back up with that back A, and great kill for him, but he needs to stay alive himself, not give up any more kills to Hive, and we're going to see this round slows down. I love the play from Crack. Go to flash out, take your 1v1, be assertive, and he asserted straight dominance on the tracks.
Well done indeed. Rebel retakes control, despite it looking a bit shaky. Hive, they were only able to accumulate a 20-point lead. Noey looks to open up a lane of his own, going through entrance and streets now onto Charlie. Rebel's going to have to double back and retake their own home hill. Should be easy for them to do. It's going to be at least right now. Well, I thought it was going to be a 2v1, but player 6 will, or excuse me, 1 will join in the mix. Noey's going to try and stay up as long as he can and scratch that, takes down Demon. He doesn't need any help. Well done from him. Now you got Danny on the other end who's going to try. Oh no, he didn't know TJ was there, and even if he did, there was not a lot he could do in that moment. So Hive is going all in. They're going in for the domination. Are they going to be able to do it?
It's going to be up to Demon. He has a big 1v1 to win, and he will not be able to take it against TJ. And you know, Noey was there right around the corner in case he did win it. He would have had to win a 1v2, but in the end, Hive will strike first. And after they got that initial kill, the control in which they had on tracks, they went back and forth from keeping most of their numbers on tracks, getting those kills, and then when Rebel shifted their numbers down low, Hive shifted over towards the home hill, and they found a win condition as they were able to pinch the players down low.
How do you think it looks, man? That was a great round for Hive, you know? It was a great round for Hive. Rebel almost, but that tracks fight almost went well. I got a little bit worried when TJ didn't get the finish, though. Like, that finish needed to happen on Demon. Danny could have really changed the pace there. Luckily, though, of course, his teammate from Hive was able to come onto the backside and take them down. But, like, and I think that was Solurs, but that little play could have made all the difference in the world. So here we are, round number 2. TJ's got that bolt talk. I believe Demon should have it on the other side. No, it's going to be Crack. So 2 bolt talks, and that's going to hit hard. But who's going to be the first one to fall?
All right, let's find out. You know, before in the previous round, the first engagement came at the hop over mid-map pavilion. That's where we saw that opening play be made. We'll see if it happens in that area once again. As in the 1v1 lanes, you're going to be having Identivez versus Solurs in the middle. And then up top is going to be Kardia versus Noey. So big-time players in these 1v1s. You're going to have the inner track come through, but on the opposite side, you see it's still 2v2, so nobody's going to make a move just yet. They will trade shots amongst each other, but they won't be made here. Now, we see up top, Noey's getting pressed, but he finds an opportunity to possibly get in and get a better position, but you saw the pressure that Kardia applied. And it's between both of these guys. They're going to call for reinforcements, but they disengage. Noey got a back A lined up, but Kardia has his right-hand advantage. Here comes help, and Solurs gets there in time. But Noey could not get the revive on Solurs. It's a little bit too slow.
Danny. Wow, like you said, couldn't get the revive. That's hard. And now Danny should have a free lane over to Charlie. And this, oh, Inzem wins a big fight. And the reason why that's big is because if Danny goes for that OE, let's say Rebel does win that fight on B, Hive's in a dangerous spot to maybe have a domination attempt against them. But because of that good fight from Inzem, it will be Hive who finally takes control. That was a big battle, though. You enjoy watching that, especially seeing like who is going to be the first one to drop. And that Streets fight got a little bit messy, but now Rebel's getting desperate. They're pushing up. They see Inzem. They counted the numbers, but they're not getting the break just yet. Inzem now throws his own flash of his own. He's looking like he wants to go in, try and take them back. Rebel just shy of getting the full cap onto B, but did Inzem bite off more than he can chew? He's going to drop off. TJ now looks to go big. Crack, though, is going to be taking a different angle. Inzem's going to be picked back up. Now you got a third one in the mix. The back trade and front trader are going to be coming through. Things are getting chaotic. The train conductor doesn't pick anyone up. Crack goes in for a kill, but it's going to be Hive who is finally able to lock in B once again.
And now they got to have one more player left on the back tracks. That was Demon. They'll clean him up. And that's going to be 2 members down on the side of Rebel. So, Hive, they're going to be sitting in the same position that they did beforehand. They got the 2 heals to their name. And now they're going to wait for Rebel to make another push. Hive sitting in a defensive position. It's exactly where they want to be. They're playing it great, but now, how does Rebel want to break this? Identivez is getting some early damage in on Noey. Just needs to hit the last shot, and he steps into that one-shot range to finish him off. And he gets to progress on to the C hill. That will be a decap. His teammate will not be able to join him, so he has 2 kills to pick up if his team is going to have a chance in this round. But player 4 chooses to go for the overextension. Well, not the... Well, yeah, the overextension. He's going to push towards his opponent's side of the map, decap their home hill. This is a trip cap coming through.
Trip cap indeed, but of course, that's all Hive needed to put them back into win condition. 5 seconds away, and that should be GG. C is not going to be touched from Rebel, and they will hold on. It got a bit scary, though, without question. But Hive will take that 2-0 lead. That was a long round, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and we owe that to the initial Blaze. It was just a huge back and forth. No team wanted to really make that first move. Eventually, it was Hive, but Rebel then answered back, and it was kind of back and forth from that point. But Hive can breathe easy with that 2-0 lead. Let's see if they can increase it further.
We will see. So looking like they're going to go make sure they can put down a talent pistol, start building up the secondary up top, leave the Botox down on tracks for the headshot potential. And for those long range battles, you definitely want that. And Rebel, they're going to match this placement. So usually in the final 3 rounds of the first half, these squads put the rest of their weapon placements in building up towards the shot grenade. But, you know, if a squad wants to choose to put a weapon down in Pavilion for the second half, it still works out for them. They can put most of their focus there, dodge the shot grenade, but also still have a Lancer angle up top at the neutral hill at an entrance if they want to. Definitely a strategy that can work out, but we'll see if anyone chooses to do it. Also, we'll even see if we get a center line power weapon. We could just get the secondaries built up throughout the entirety of the map. We'll see if that happens. But for now, pretty much the same initials we saw before with players 9 and 3. They're starting to fight a little bit earlier.
Ooh, no, he's tagged up. The Talon was hurting.
Oh,
but
he
can't
missed
get the finish. He did. He missed that shot. And again, those finishes are so important because now the man advantage goes over towards Rebel, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and put all their eggs in one basket. They want this neutral fight. They want the neutral hill, and it looks like they might make good on it, but Inzem is looking to clutch up and go big. He's going to pull up that meat show. Danny, though, is going to go ahead and try and get through it. Demon's going to come to the backside, take down Inzem, and it looks like 2 down once again for Hive, and that's going to be Rebel taking the neutral, and now they can set up defensively and count the numbers from Hive and see where they go next.
Rebels, they're going to push player 6 up towards the spawn of Hive. So Rebel, they want this A-hill. They're not backing up from it either. Flashes are going in. They plan on dying on top of this A-hill with 2 members trapped in the corner. Team kills come through. Inzem gets another, and he made up for it by taking out 2, but I know he wish he has TJ in this moment, but Inzem gets 3. Trip cap domination coming through. Surely Hive makes it in time.
Yep.
Noey, he stops it from capping. He waits for help to come through, and Enzo made some big plays there to keep Hive in his round.
Absolutely. Well done from him, but can Hive capitalize on that? Can they push a little bit further, close out this deficit? We have Rebel, who's more than half above that of Hive, but of course, Hive will lock in the neutral. Will they be able to hold on? Kardia's already looking to pressure them back, but the Lancer will slow him down, and that's a great shot from Noey. Good heads-up play, because now Rebel, they've got to think twice about pushing in, but they're not going to think very long. Demon is already pushing up. So is the rest of the crew. Kardia's going to fall. Noey hits a big shot. Looks like Danny's going to be finished off as well. No, not just yet, though. Danny is now finally gone. The team pickups were there. Player 7's last up on the map. Hive. Will they have the win condition? Yes, they will. So now they can play it cautiously if they want, and that's exactly what they are going to do. Rebel, they have time now. Recollect your thoughts. Find out a strategy. The OE, though, it looks like it's underway. That's the play to make for Rebel.
3 members up top. Now, Hive sees it coming from a mile away, so they're going to fortify. They got 2 Lancers in this position. Make sure they got a player watching from mid-map as well. As long as Rebel hasn't crossed that entrance door, Hive is good to keep 2 players held. Sometimes even just one in the spot and call for reinforcements at the last moment towards the hill. But as we see how the map breaks down, it's going to be split up. 2v2 down low, 1v1 middle. Base strats like we saw off the initial. Now, Rebel's going to throw some flashes out. They don't get much from it. Hive gets the early down on Demon with a man advantage. Danny is in a difficult spot. The inner train is coming as well. He cannot isolate that to a 1v1. Hive is going to get their numbers on the other end. And then from there, they are going to be towards their opponent's spawn. They went off one. They're just going to clean up these kills, save each other, and kill each other at that point.
And you already know who that came down to, right? Inzem. Inzem keeping the dream alive for Hive. That had then allowed Hive to push in onto tracks when that fight, which, by the way, was a 3v3. That was a big battle. Rebel committed quite a bit and down there everything that they had to win that fight on the tracks. They didn't take it. But now the conversation comes into play. You just brought it up a little bit ago, and you were mentioning the addition of a power weapon. If there was any time to place a power weapon in Pavilion to change up that fight, it is now. And it looks like we're going to see that in Pavilion. And we have to know it's going to be the long shot. It's the only thing that makes sense. Demon loves fighting for that. He gets his hands on that. It can change the outcome of the match. But it could very well be a torque bow, but it looks like we're going to get the long shot that we were predicting it to be. Good call out, Blaze. It looks like that's the way it's going to play out.
Yes, it is. You love seeing more long shot in these maps in this season of Gears Esports. So definitely been a joy to watch, and I'm pretty sure the fans have been enjoying all the plays these players have been given to us. And yeah, so we'll see if we see any in this round. I'm sure we will. But off this initial, TJ is going to make it down towards tracks. He's going to be man-on-man on this side of the map. But Noey got to the hop over first, so he's in position to get this sniper, but he knows he needs to win his fight first, and that's a hard fight to come out on top, and Identivez did a great job holding his shot as long as he did.
So now you give Danny the long shot, but I think more impactful is the fact that Rebel's going to be on all hills. So the long shot's not going to even play a factor, at least for the fact that it just engaged that initial a lot more aggressively for Rebel than we have seen in the past. So well done for them to finally take a round. We'll now transition to that streets fight, which is going to be very back and forth. Of course, we have to get through the long shot fight initially. But I will say, by the way, I want to point something out. Noey. You know, we gave that stat line in the beginning we were talking about. He is leading the charge. He's 11-4 currently with the stat line. So well done from him to kind of prove us a little bit wrong. Look, he is right now, for all intents and purposes, that main slayer for this roster.
And he's playing, which may be the hardest position on this map, that entrance spot, because we see a lot of big plays have to happen up there. Now, some of these rounds, he hasn't been cleaning up his kills. He might have more kills than that if he picked up some of those downs, but ultimately, man, Noey has been setting the pace for his team on this map. He's doing a fantastic job, and they're going to need him even more so in the second half to step up and fight against Demon when it comes down to control for that long shot mid-map.
Man, got the tension with the knife at this point. Both teams just trying to gain any advantage that they can. I will say this. I like that Noey is prioritizing that fight up top along with his teammate. That gives Hive not only the neutral hill, but also a way to kind of Lancer out onto Demon. But I say that, Demon gets it basically for free, immediately puts it to work, hits a body shot. But there's that Lancer fire I was talking about in TJ, or excuse me, it's going to be Solurs. TJ got the first bit of damage from up top, and then Solurs was able to get the final bit of damage. So well done, but Danny is going to be there as well. I'm not sure what he was actually doing at that moment, trying to pick up his imaginary friend, but that's going to be great for Hive, who gets the domination.
So beautiful round for Hive, man. They executed it flawlessly. And this is what they did. Instead of even worrying about the sniper mid-map, they say, you know what? We're going to just play a 2-2. We're going to focus on the up top entrance hill because it was only one player over there defending it, right? And he didn't want to go against 2. So they got the early cap. And from there, Rebel was just like, you know what? We need to get something let's get the sniper rifle. But Hive had a trap set up. They say no matter if you get the sniper and you come towards tracks, or you get the sniper and you hop out towards pavilion, we got a cross waiting for you. We'll focus you out. That's exactly what they did. They got the neutral. Rebel took the bait. Hive, they're at map point.
All right, so with Hive leading the way, looks like we are almost guaranteed at this point a map number 3. It's absolutely a possibility. Demon's going to drop off. That hurts. You know, you definitely want him to stay up. That's going to be TJ picking up one. Now going in for the second is going to be Danny. Solurs going to be there for added insurance, and that's going to be a flawless start once again. And TJ's going to have that long shot to put it to great use. Kardia now in a big fight. He's going to manage to take down Solurs, but is he going to be able to make use of this flank? Already Hive is locking in the neutral hill and the home hill, so they're going to be going in for the domination, and they are just a hair away from getting it. And Blaze, they will do it once again. 41 seconds, 5-1. No competition for Rebel, despite it being their map pick. And it looks like Hive, they wanted a map 3. They're not done just yet, Blaze.
Yeah, they're not done just yet. A dominant performance on Asylum. We're going to Foundation. Big plays mid-map from TJ, picking up that first blood. And because of that, Hive was able to systematically pick off the rest of the members of Rebel, unlocking their first map of the series. Now we go to game 3.
Game 3, you love to see it, guys. Things just got that much interesting. Foundation is going to decide it all. Will Rebel take the victory, or will Hive stay undefeated? We'll find out after this break. Welcome back to the Gears Pro League Day 5. Final map about to be underway between Rebel and Hive. Man, it's amazing that we are getting to this point with how Rebel started, right? Let's go back to Vasgar, Blaze. They started off hot and heavy, had a very decent lead, only to have Hive send them to round 9. And thank goodness they did win that round 9, okay? Because this could have been a very quick 2-0 series with one map being exciting, the other one being lackluster. But it seems as if Rebel, they knew what they were doing on Vasgar. Hey, Asylum, it is what it is. Chalk it up. We're still going into game, or map number 3, I should say. But it's been exciting. It really has. Rebel has showed a lot of promise, but can they close it out? That's the big question.
Yeah, that is the big question. You know, kicking off this series, Rebel had a 4-1 lead, all right? So on Vasgar, yeah, they closed it out in the final round after Hive came back, but, you know, you take those first 4 rounds out the equation, and then from that moment on, Hive, you know, they're kind of sitting at 9-2, right, over the last few rounds. So I think Hive has that momentum in their favor. They're feeling confident coming off to that Asylum. They're going to a map like Foundation that's going to be simple. They know how to play it. But on the flip end, Rebel's going to be really good at this map as well. We will see a sniper rifle placed somewhere on the statue side of the map, maybe down low and mid.
Sure.
We'll see what happens, but more favorably on the statue, just because in the second half, if teams choose to go for a home hill setup at Fountains and Welding, you got that sniper rifle to be able to break setups. Also, retro launchers are going to be there as well, so you definitely want that sniper on the map to give your team a little bit of a chance to be able to break those setups that your opponent's going to be in. And so we'll see if Demon makes some crazy plays to get Rebel back in the series, rather if it's him, Identivez, Kardia, Crack, whoever it is, somebody is going to have to set the pace on this map, take this momentum away from Hive. And, you know, Rebel, as long as they wolf pack and play like a team, they got a damn good chance at winning this map. But Hive, they're feeling confident and they are undefeated. So I think that this is kind of tilted more in their favor as we go to Foundation.
You brought up a great point, wolf packing together. That's why Rebel was able to dominate as early as they were on Vasgar, because every fight they got into, they had an additional team member there to aid in getting the trade. Something that was desperately lacking on Asylum, but it's hard to get that additional man on Asylum, right? Because you have your default setups. Vasgar is more fluid in the way that it works. Objectively, you're constantly rotating. There's constant engagements. So it's easier to send that additional man. Foundation, though, it's kind of the same way as Vasgar. You can almost send an additional man at certain points, or even be a little bit tricky if you can prioritize that mid lane. We normally see that 2v2 split that's going to be down in Pistons, and you have 2 people who are going to be challenging on streets, maybe on statue, to, you know, kind of tint for the OE, or at least keep that as a possibility. But every once in a while, you will have that Lancer fight in mid, and then someone might break through to try and take that neutral. And that could be beneficial if if Rebel does that correctly. But I do want to say something about Hive, Blaze. They have a lot of reps on Foundation. And why is that? because of the Pro League qualifiers. Week in and week out, when Foundation was added into the competitive rotation for Split 2, it was constantly being played alongside that of Harbor. But Foundation was the map that was consistently played in just about every single series. And that goes for the Pro League qualifiers and the early days of E-Days in preseason. So Hive has a lot of practice on this very map, maybe more so than Rebel does. So I'm giving the edge over towards Hive. Their teamwork should be great on it. Plus, they've seen a lot more scenarios than the roster of Rebel has, theoretically, right? Albeit scrims and all that. So I think Hive should have the leg up. Rebel, they got to come through big here. This is their map to take, and this could be a big upset.
It definitely could be a big upset. And so when this map kicks off, we're going to be playing close attention towards these 1v1 lanes and how both these squads want to break off the initial, because you can send 2 players down to Pistons right away, get that fortified, let 1 player sit mid-map with a Lancer and 1 top tables. Or you can send 2 mid-map and let that one of the extra player in the middle decide, does he want to go towards Pistons, get a better angle? Do you want to push the guy middle? Because if you do get that middle kill, you could possibly make a play for the guy top tables, get the home hills. There are several different options in which you can open up Foundation. We're seeing a classic default start. Both squads sending 2 players towards B. You see an early flash come out, but it's not stun Demon. The push comes out a little bit too soon from Inzem, right? He had to wait just a second. Now Noey's getting pressed, and it's Rebel who's getting off to a good start.
Yeah, well done. You know, that default setup comes out, no surprise. It's kind of a gut check, right? It's like, what can you bring to the table? Can we go head-to-head, and can we still have the advantage? Well, Rebel now has that answer. Look at that great start, as you mentioned. Solurs now being pressured hard, but wow, he's going to manage to come out ahead, and that is thanks to also TJ getting that cross. Well done. That keeps Hive back in it. Now, Kardia is in no man's land, but still looking to make good, and he will. That's a big fight. He takes it. The domination is coming in. Solurs, you got to be quicker. Get the touch. Kardia gets the chunk, but Hive stays alive for a little bit longer. But what a start for Rebel.
Yeah, what a start indeed. Good job to Kardia for applying pressure top tables and forcing Hive to have to get back and get that home hill. And, you know, especially with the trip cap domination coming out without any sound, I'm pretty sure they got those 2 kills in the middle of the map and was like, what the hell is happening? Who's on our home hill? Now, they have regained for now. E-hill still in favor for Rebel, but Noey, great wrap shot. Identivez does not get the revive, so 2 kills come through and a save for Inzem. Hive is exactly where they want to be. They know where the remaining 2 players are. They take out Kardia. 1 guy left on the hit list. That's going to be Demon. But if you want anybody alive, if you're a Rebel fan, you definitely want it to be Demon. Can he make it to C in time? No, I don't know. It's a stretch, and he won't be able to.
Ooh, who's that player who was just a hair away?
Identivez.
Was it Identivez? Man, those hurt when you get to that 1-yard line. Well, it is what it is. Such a great start for Rebel, but an even better finish from Hive, taking that victory. Well done from them. Now, we've seen the default setup. Now, will Rebel get a little bit trickier, maybe change things up a bit? Honestly, do they need to? Not necessarily. That last initial went well. Things got a little bit murky, though, in that mid-battle. But for me, though, the reason why, and you pointed it out, right? Inzem kind of got a little bit antsy. He pushed forward way too early. If he kind of sticks it, that fight goes a little bit better, maybe a little bit more even. But I expect both teams to kind of be back and forth here. But let's find out. Is anybody going to get sneaky and maybe switch things up a bit?
Okay. All right, here we go. Now, same start off the rip for both these squads here. Both talks are going to be in play, but you saw the mismatch there in the secondary, Taylor. We'll see what that's going to do for us here in these later rounds. It could add for some spicy weapon placements. We'll see what happens now. This initial Inzem is the focus for Rebel, but he makes it through this time. That allows Danny to push up a bit, but Inzem wanted this angle. He wanted these players to push him, and he connects on a great shot on Danny. He's confident that he could push up. Tried to bait for him to play off the right hand, but in the end, he will trade out Danny. That will be Noey down low, and it's Hive who get the advantage with the B-Hill. Now, they just need to sit pretty, but you see Noey creeping up on Demon. Can he back out? No, he won't be able to, and he's going to regret that decision.
Yeah, he is, because now B is going to get decapped and fully capped at worst for the side of Rebel. So they are actually going to stick it. No reason why not to, especially with Danny being there. Demon can drop down, and of course he'll be picked back up. But no, not even needed. Inzem now is going to be stuck in no man's land up top. He can't push forward. He can't really push back. He's kind of going to be at a standstill unless a teammate gets there to help him. So for Hive, you can kind of see on the minimap where they're setting up. Looks like they're going for that OE. And I hope Rebel calls out these numbers. Demon looked like he wanted to get Froggy and Leap, but he kind of pulls back. So now again, here's this OE. Kardia is at the forefront. Hive not wanting to fully commit though. They're backing up because they know Rebel's numbers. They're there.
All right, so Hive exactly where they want to be. Well, they're going to lose a player at top tables. They had 2 players in position mid-map to contest, but they're going to recognize that they at least need 1 player putting some pressure there from Welding if they want to, you know, be able to contest with B. But that rotation came in too late from Inzem, and Solar got 2v1. Now Inzem is the next on the list to get 2v1, and Danny's going to be here waiting for him. Him and Demon, they're going to make quick work of Inzem. They keep the B hill locked in, and the trip cap domination come through. And in hindsight, it was just Solar should have got out of that position and backed up towards the home hill, waited for his teammates to come off respawn, and then Hive should have made another push. But Rebel did a good job assessing the situation, recognizing where their main advantages was, and they won the fight.
And you also mentioned earlier, too, remember that big fight, right, between Demon and Noey? Noey had a chance to maybe back up, but he continued to press his luck by pushing forward. Demon ended up punishing him, taking him down, and therefore that's why the neutral went to the side of Rebel, and that's what ultimately ended Hive, right? Because that would force them to go for the overextension, but they didn't fully commit, and they ended up losing that fight. Now, we can definitely see some differences, right? Retro's on top. Then we also have a Retro there on bottom. So for Hive, they're going to have it on top for Fountains. Does that lead for maybe a prioritization on Pistons? But for me, though, I'm looking at Rebel. They're going to have a big advantage if a power weapon gets placed on Statue, having that Retro down low. So I think we're pretty far from that point. But you can definitely see both teams kind of trying out a different strategy here. For Noey, though, he's got the Retro down low, and that is going to be beneficial for these 2 Rebel members. But at the point in time, nobody really wants to push forward. We're going to be at a bit of a standstill.
We definitely will. He has the weapon that he wants to defend his B hill. I don't think Rebel makes too many plays down this side of the map. Now, for their Retro Lancer, it is going to be in the hands of Kardia, but that's a 1v1 position against TJ. And, you know, if you ask me, I think it's a good weapon to have against TJ. It'll definitely slow him down just a bit. Now, you see a down comes in through mid-map. Inzem tried to go for that play middle again. Now, luckily, Solurs will be able to win his 1v1 mid-map. And Noey, with the Retro Lancer in hand, even though he lost Inzem, he can hold this fight off till Solurs gets there. Now, reinforcements are in position. This is going to be a stalemate of a fight. The overextension came through up top of TJ. He will lock in the A hill. Now, for me, I think Rebel Kardia needs to make some plays with this Retro. He's going to shift his position towards mid-map, and maybe he can get into the middle map and have an influence with that weapon and save his teammates.
Ooh, Danny connects a great shot onto Noey, but both players are left to bleed out. Hive now getting dangerously close to maybe a dominating position, but with player 6 dropping, it's kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing, because he goes down and Rebel thinks, all right, we're good to push forward, but now you got 2 more who was able to push through B, and they're on the domination, and they're going to get it. Man, what a great play there from Hive. Again, those 2 Rebel members, once they finished off player 6, they were like, man, we're good to go. Like, let's just keep pushing forward. But little did they know, those 2 members from Hive were slowly making their way over. And were able to lock into domination.
But even a little bit before that, the fight at Pistons broke out, where you saw Hive take a 3v2 on the back H and get those kills. Ultimately, that's why they pressed towards the home hill. Kardia did not fill the gap in mid lane. Now, yes, they pushed TJ, they got the kill, but he had about 5 seconds to say, you know what? My teammates need the Retro Lancer at B at Pistons. Let me push mid-map and see if I can get into a 1v1, shoot some players in the back, anything. I think that rotation was slow, and that's what lost Rebel the round. And I want to see them put that Retro Lancer in some lanes to really have a big influence on these fights.
You mentioned the Retro Lancer. It is going to be Kardia with his own. And he's going to be on the opposite side of the map. So at this point in time, Rebel, they're pushing forward very aggressively. Now, Inzem from the mid, he's going to catch Demon off guard, force him to rotate back. Inzem, though, he's not going to let him go that easily, takes him down. And now you have Danny in a tough spot, using H to his cover, trying to take down any member he can from Hive, but it's going to be a tough one to do. He's now full red, and it looks like these boys are utilizing their numbers correctly. Danny's going to fall down. Hive, they're going to take over Bravo. Rebel, they've got 2 members over on Statue. Make that a third one if player 1 decides to join them. So Hive's going to call that out, reallocate their forces, and try and just stop this push. Crack, though, he's going in full speed ahead.
Yeah, speaking of forces, TJ is going to reposition himself towards the back, make sure he got out of that dangerous position, as you called it out perfectly. But Mr. Krabs play coming through. Demon has to get into a fight now. Hive could take this one a little bit quicker. They do get 2 kills. Trip cap domination coming through once again. Now Crack's going to go down. He's going to get cleaned up, but he decaps first. Hive's a little bit more time in a round, but not enough time. Hive, 3-1 lead.
Ooh, just a bit short of seeing Inzem get skewered by the retro. And I guess Colin would have voted another $5 if that counts. I don't know. Colin apparently is handing out $5 for everybody that gets a running kill with the retro, but who knows if it's team versus team. You could really cash out there and make a lot of money, make a career out of that, honestly, from Colin.
Yo,
I
would say I get $5 for every headshot with the snipe, but with the long shot. But the way that these players have been playing over these last few weeks,
broke.
Yeah, right. And with the frequency we're seeing long shots down on the map, oh man, I'd be out of $100 every week.
Yes, sir. Well, we got the Shocks and the Ensigns. We now transfer over to Statue Blaze. And I can't confidently say it helps Rebel. I really can't. But
so Hive with the shock grenade, that's a big advantage for him, okay? Rebel still doesn't have the Retro Lancer built up towards the D hill. Well, no Retro Lancers on the map, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think even for both these squads, they're okay with playing it just like that. Now, Rebel has to put that incendiary grenade to great usage. We do see Hive win a 2v1 down low to overextend towards the home hill. So that means that Solurs can disengage. He can just drop back, lock in his home hill setup. That shot grenade is still going to be in play on the spawn side of Rebel. So at this point, they're going to have to deal with that or overextend towards the other end of the map to possibly find an opening.
Checking for that shock. Noey had it, and he puts it to great use. He's going to shut down that choke point. Rebel, you can't push through that. And that's going to send them in a frenzy, right? You see them kind of rotating all across the map, actually completely going on the opposite end. They're going for the OE. Getting their home hill was just a little bit too tough to take. But this is also a tough position to push through, right? Because you have players 9 and 6, Solurs and TJ, who's going to be at the back line. And they're going to be able to lancer these players out. So what Rebel is trying to do is send player 1, Demon, down below, and he's going to pick up a big elimination there on Noey. Now, at this point, Hive doesn't know where Demon is going to go. So 7, he's going to be isolated 1v2, and he's going to try his best to hold his own here. Meanwhile, the other 2 on the opposite side of the map, they might not even push because they know they just won their home hill back, and they're not going to. So well done for Rebel sending Demon down low. It was kind of the linchpin that allowed Rebel to take the 2-1 hill advantage. But now already the pressure for E is going to be there. Hive, they're sending 3 strong into the 2 of, what is it, Crack and Danny, who now have to try and hold these Hive members back.
Yeah, Hive should knew exactly where Demon was going to go, but those other 2 members of Rebel, they backed up a little bit too late, but it's not going to play much into this final setup. Kardia comes off respawn, but Rebel already had 3 members defending neutral hill and mid-map. So they had 3 allocated to this side. All lanes covered. We're at a stalemate now, so great play from Demon, and Rebel got what they wanted out of it, and they're going to have the lead momentarily. Oh, the pressure is there. The Botok is just too strong. TJ saves Solurs, and now Hive have a 2-man advantage. Oh, where do they want to go? What you going to do with this advantage? They got the E-Hill. And actually, that's all they want, right? And so they're good. They got everything that they needed. It's a 2-1 setup. Kardia knows it's an L. He's just like, all right.
Okay.
I'm dead there.
Well, that's easy for me. I was going to set it up for him, man. Be like, all right, Rebel, let's see what you can do in the final seconds. But seeing Kardia do that, well, it just shows me, look, it's over with. And it was. What is he going to do, right? 4-1. It's a good spot for Hive to be in. They're looking to lock in these last 2 maps with a 10-2 round count overall. And I haven't seen anything that Rebel has shown that proves that they can make this comeback possible. Hive has just kind of got it all.
The only thing that we were thinking about a Rebel was them getting that sniper rifle down on statue.
That is true, and there it is.
And it's coming down. But they got their incendiary grenade that they want to use. But on the flip end, Hive was able to build up a retro on the map. So that retro lancer is going to be watching over that long shot. So I think that should be the focus for the player who picks up the incendiary grenade for Rebel. You got to try to get that retro out the picture. You know it's going to be in the hands of Noey. Identivez has the incendiary grenade, and he puts it to good use down low on TJ. That's going to keep Demon alive. Can Noey get through the Sea of Flames? He's going to navigate it and get the retro out. So Demon may need another revive. Identivez steps up, but Noey hits a great shot. Help comes through. The revive train is there, and Inzem cleans house.
Wow, Inzem has been making plays like that literally all night long. Well done from him. And now he's going to space out this fight around Kardia, and he's going to take him down and give him that extra love. Hive knows they're not getting the domination yet. There will be some more fights. Rebel is still in it, but they've got a long way to go if they want to try and come back in this series or come back in this map in general. This is the final map. Whoever wins this will take the series for tonight. And you can see how far back Rebel is. They're just trying to get anything going. Demon was already knocked down. He's going to get picked back up, of course, but you're going against a lot of firepower there from Hive.
Yeah, you're going against a lot of firepower indeed. Now, you're going to see that revive not come through, so Noey makes a big play, and Crack's going to be left in a 2v1. But you see how Hive backs up. Don't want to give up any crazy fights. They won't Crack to push them. He's taking some damage along the way. And you see how much pressure he's under, the anxiety of having to push that top tables fight in a 1v2. Just trying to get out any damage that he can, but he's going to fall very short there. And Hive, they still have the 2-to-1 heal advantage locked in. They got a numbers advantage too across map at the E heal, and it just feels like Rebel, they don't got anything left in this round.
I don't think so. Demon, he's going to be isolated out. He's gone. And I think we have like basically one final hoorah, right, from Rebel. If they can even break out of their own spawn. Danny, he was at the forefront. He's gone. And at this point, Rebel's just sitting one in after the other. Player 2 and 4, they might be able to, I don't know, get a break onto E, but you still got to get the break on D. And you can already see what they're trying to do, right? They're going to send those 2 players out to maybe get a break on E. They're going to send player 1 through Pistons. This is the final hoorah, but it's not going to be enough. As player 8, actually, well, let's see here. It is E heal is going to be messed around with, but there's my answer. Player 1 gets broke through, and Hive will take this 5-1. They'll take the series 2-1, and they remain undefeated.
Man, good job to Hive this week. Congrats to them. They fall hard. Noey had a MVP performance in both of the maps in which they won, and that's a great job to him. We saw his player card earlier. You know, I said that, you know, he was like the 4th best on the team, and it didn't bother him, but he came out tonight and says, hold up, wait a minute. Let me show you that I can do exactly what the squad needs, and I can come out and be a top performer. We know you can. You did it. Hive, they remain undefeated.
Undefeated indeed. And you know what? If that doesn't answer your questions, if Hive is the best team out there, well, it should for sure do so. I know Rebel, they're ranked number 9, not where they want to be. Getting the loss tonight, exactly, or really not what they wanted. Who wants the L overall? But you know what? I mean, they showed promise at least on one map. But again, I got to see more from them. Like, I'm pleading to see more from Rebel because this is a talented roster and they're not where I expected them to be this early on. We go back, right? Preseason Blaze emergence days, like they were looking good. Like Rebel was looking amazing. But now it's just they can't catch a break in any of the series they go into.
New team hype, man. You know, the honeymoon stage, you know, that can give a lot of teams some momentum. Like, hey, it's a new squad. Let's go out here. Let's show up and, you know, shake up the league. But consistency is super important. And you're going to come up against some big-time teams, some big-time players, and big-time moments. And today, I've showed that it's levels to this, and they are ready for that type of pressure. Rebel, they can be a great team, right? They got the pieces to the puzzle. They just need to work on just making little improvements every single day of the Pro League, during emergence days, week in and week out, and hope that those small improvements will accumulate to them being a dominant force during our major.
Absolutely. Very well said indeed. Those little changes might make a difference, and they do compound on each other, and obviously help you in the ends. This series almost ended 2-0, right? If that comeback from Hive was looking incredible, they sent it to round 9. They win that map, or they win that map. Hey, we already know how Asylum went 5-1. Could have been a 2-0, but they wanted to make things interesting, and it is what it is. Again, GG to Hive, and well done from them.